Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the marketing deep dive of how to nail the first 12 seconds of a telemarketing call to get the appointment, or it's just a damn call. This is Debbie Bush. I'm your client concierge. I'll be in the background. We have our presenters here, Rich Crockett and Missy Vega. So many of you are joining the webinar. We have high registrations for this call, so we're going to wait just a few more seconds before we formally get started.
How many registered, Debbie?
It's climbing. It's in the 160s right now.
All right. You had said there were over 400 registered, so.
Yep. So you can start up anytime you want, and I'll mute myself, and this will be great.
Okay. Well, Missy, take it away.
All right, guys, thank you. So I just want to say, everybody, welcome to the call. This is how to nail the first 12 seconds of a telemarketing call to get the appointment.
And the subtitle is, it's just a damn call. Missy and I are on a every other week call with some Producers Club members who are setting appointments. And there's a lot of angst about making phone calls. And one day, one of the persons on the call said, hey, it's just a damn call. And that seemed to break the dam and make everyone realize that, yeah, that's right. It's just a telephone call.
All right, so guys, again, my name is Missy Vega. I am Robin's call center manager. I have been working with her for 1.5 years. Now, when I first started, I was actually doing the telemarketing role and then got moved up to a team lead and then now the call center manager.
And I'm Rich Crockett, also known as the mayor of Producers Club. My responsibility is with the mastermind team. And sometimes this time of year, I am also known as Santa Rich.
All right, guys, so this session is for you for a couple different reasons. If your job is to make the appointment, setting calls, and follow up on campaigns, if your job is to train those appointment setters, if you have encountered those wonderful stonewalling gatekeepers, or if the prospect says, I didn't get your letter, or the dreaded, who are you? And guys, this is all on a good day. So
Missy's quite right. It is on a good day. And I just wanted to remind you that you may have questions. And so post those questions to the question box, not the chat, as we will be stopping twice during the presentation to take questions that Debbie is going to provide us from the question box. And then there will be time for questions at the end. So put those questions in the question box.
All right, guys. So in this session, we want to teach you how to break down the call, how to get someone's interest, how to overcome those objections, and a big key thing is what should your metrics look like? I'm going to teach you how to break it down. And then lastly, how to sell the appointment and what that means.
And the sell the appointment part is very important. Before I joined Robin, one of the things I did was I managed a team of telemarketers at the company I was director of marketing for. And we had one telemarketer who was a former employee of a wholesale tech company, tech supplier, and wanted to work closer to home. So we hired him, and he was really good at getting a decision maker on the phone. He was really lousy at setting the appointment. So I sat in the office one day and listened to him, and it took me about 2 calls till I figured out what happened. And what was happening was that he got down into the weeds. So suppose we were calling about Datto, and he was trying to sell the appointment, and the client would throw him off by saying, well, I've got XYZ solution. Isn't that good enough? Well, that's where he went off the track. He should have said, well, that's a really good question. That's why you need to talk to Tom. Would next Tuesday at 2:30 work for you? And instead, he would go down and start trying to sell the product.
All right, guys. So what selling the appointment means is, this is not a pricing call. Like Rich was saying, you don't want to go get in the weeds. You're not trying to get the sale. You're simply trying to sell them on the idea of how important the call will be, or the appointment. If you guys are doing a phone call appointment, or if you're doing an in-person appointment, you want to sell that, not the price, not the actual product.
And you see on the screen here a picture of a very handsome mug with our tagline on it. It's just a damn call. If you hang on to the end of the call, we'll tell you how to get that, how to get a free mug.
It's really a fantastic mug. As you can see, I'm using it this morning. So guys, the way that I like to think about a phone call is getting ready to go on stage. So when you get ready to go on stage, there's certain things that you do. It takes me back to the days when, you know, I was prepping myself to go on for drama. And I mean, it was just a minute ago that I was in high school, but you know, it all comes rolling back. So the things I like to tell my team are, do you have everything pulled up that you need to have pulled up? So are your websites pulled up? You have a survey, is that ready to go? Do you have an idea of how many appointments or what days the appointments are more available on? If not, it should already be right there and ready to go. And then, you know, sit up, take a deep breath. And the common thing you guys are going to hear me say is smile. Everyone can hear it in your voice. They know it.
And that's a really great tip about the smile, because you can really hear a smile in a person's voice. And Missy, I'm surprised to learn that you were involved in drama. That's really quite interesting, but I think that really helps you think in that mindset, you know, when you're getting ready to go on stage.
Absolutely. You know, you got to let everything that's in the past, just let it go and get ready for every single call. So the first 10 seconds, guys, is all you get. The person's going to make up their mind. Like, you know, you get 10 seconds to impress. So your tone needs to be on point. You don't want someone who's super, super high pitched and then you're kind of cringing. You don't want your actual pitch to be delivered incorrectly. You want to make sure that you have that down. Your confidence, guys, this one's super important. If you are not confident in what you're saying, it's going to come across. If you are timid, if you are just not exactly understanding what you need to do, it's all going to show in that confidence. Now, the quality of your voice, if you were out drinking all night last night, no one wants to hear your raspy voice because you just rolled out of bed and now are trying to make them a sale. And you need to have, and then you need to smile. Again, like I said, you guys are going to hear this time and time again. You need to smile, make sure that they hear that and it comes across in your call. Now, when you're actually in the body of your call, there's a couple things that are really important. Of course, delivering your pitch, making sure, again, that pitch is on point. Do you have a solid pitch that you are able to go through? Are you excited about what you're selling or the appointment that you're trying to give? Because if you're not excited about the information you're giving, why would the person on the other end be excited? If you don't care, why would they? Again, be confident. When I'm talking to someone, my first couple calls, oh boy, when I was a telemarketer, they were awful. They were a disaster. But it's because I had no confidence in the information I was giving. Now, I have all kinds of confidence because I know and I understand what it is that I'm talking about. And then having the script. So I don't care if you're a seasoned vet or if you have been there 15 minutes. You should have that script out in front of you every single time that you're calling. Because what happens if that person is like, oh, wait, hold on. They're running off to do something and come back. Do you know where you're at in your pit? I don't. So I make sure that I have that in front of me every single time. And then your objection script. Guys, making sure that you have a script there that you can briefly go to and immediately say all your objections is incredibly important.
Okay, now we're going to take a little time for Q&A. So Debbie, are there questions that have come up that we
So-
can answer?
Believe it or not, we don't have up. As soon as I say that, right, that there aren't any, then they start popping up. Rick is asking, do you have examples of the scripts that you use available? I have bullet points that I use. And then the other person asked about sharing the scripts. So Rich, you could probably speak to this, but I know that we do have scripts for our different campaigns that are on the dashboard. Is there anything else that they should know?
Well, there are scripts available, you know, like for the aspirin campaign. And later in the call, when we talk about objection scripts, we'll give you some ideas about scripts.
Okay. Here's a good one. During this time with folks working from home, how do you advise handling the objection and blunt refusal? I think we're going to talk about that later, actually, to meet each.
Yes, we are.
Okay, so I'm going to hold on to that one. We just answered. So when we talk about the scripts, I think let's wait till a little later. Some people are asking about that as well. So I'd say
Okay, well,
go ahead to the next slide.
All right. Sounds
all right,
good.
well, let's go on to the next slide. And Missy, you want to set this up?
All right, guys. So I'm going to have you listen to 3 bad calls and then 2 good calls. The one thing I want you to listen for is that, or understand, is there's going to be some weird pauses in there because we did take everyone's name out to protect the good, the bad, the innocent, you know, everyone in between. So if you have some blanks, just bear with me. I will.
Good morning.
explain it at the end.
Yes, can I speak with please?
Sir? Oh, yes, sir. Give me one moment. Hello, this is...
Hey, this is Colin with TMT, Technology Marketing Toolkit. How you doing today?
I'm great.
Hey, I was reaching out to you. I mailed you out a postcard in the mail. The postcard covers, it's a free video workshop we're sending out to MSPs who want to grow their business. The video covers 6 ways to double clients and sales without spending a dime. Did you happen to get that in the mail?
No, I'm not sure. And
Okay.
right now we're not in the market to advertise. We don't have the funds to advertise. So,
Okay. Well, what we would do is that's where we come in. We give you our guide to, you know, draw in revenue without spending any money. What I do is set you up with a free consultation with our senior consultant, and he gives you that marketing roadmap. It's a step-by-step guide. It's been researched and refined. We've been in this business for over 18 years, and we're working with more than 8,000 IT service firms.
okay, yeah. Actually, yeah, we're not interested. We also been in business for 25 years. So, yeah, we've been here for 25 years. We haven't even advertised. We don't advertise. So, yeah. But thank you for considering us. Thank you for your trying to help. And we'll call you if we need your help.
All right. Have a good one.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, guys. So when I'm explaining this, the thing that I want you to understand is I put up here what we didn't learn. Okay, that's how I like to break down a bad call. So what could we have learned from this call? The one thing you guys did not get to hear is he was asking for someone. We're going to put my name in there. So he was asking for Missy, and then a mail got up. He didn't even question it. This person said a whole different name, and he just kept right on rolling. So the first thing I would have been asking is, hey, I was actually trying to reach Missy. So what do you do with the company? Maybe that was the decision maker, but you know what? We really have no idea. Second thing, he said they don't advertise. Now, he had said something about money. It was never explored. So we don't actually know why they don't advertise. So is it, you know, do they just go by word of mouth and they have a big enough company? Great. fantastic you've been open 25 years. Breaking up for anybody else, guys?
No, I heard you okay, Missy. I think that when either of you are talking, the other person should be muted, and I don't know if that will help out. There's sometimes a little tinniness to yours, but just be close to your mic and
I can get
be
close
good.
to the screen,
All right.
just, don't want to scare anybody.
Oh, no, that's good. That's
All right.
actually be close to the screen, and then we get to see your beautiful face too.
All right.
I'm going to go on to the next call.
Hold on 1 second, Rich. Actually, I wanted to finish that. So,
Okay.
one thing that I like to say, if they are telling you that they're fine, they don't do marketing, ask them some probing questions. So if you lost, 3 of your biggest clients, do you have something in place that actually takes care of that? Do you have a marketing plan or a marketing strategy that will take care of all of your needs if you lose someone? All right, Rich, now we can go to the next one.
All right. Call 2, and I like to say they get better, but they really don't. So here we go.
This call is being recorded for marketing purposes.
Thank you for calling. How may I be of assistance?
Hi, this is I'm calling from Technology Marketing Toolkit. Is available?
We don't have anyone by the name of in here.
Maybe I may be saying it wrong. The last name is.
Yeah, we don't have anyone here. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
afraid.
Okay, no problem. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Take care.
You have a good day.
All right, guys. So again, I like to think of these as what didn't we learn? So we have no idea who is the CEO of that company, who's the marketing manager, or who would actually take care of any of this information because we didn't ask. And then, maybe this gatekeeper was someone who is newer and they don't know who last had the company. So, this is something that's extremely important to ask. Hey, is the company in new hands now? Maybe we just have some bad information. Let's go to that last.
All right, let's go to the last call. And I think the reason we put on 3 calls is when you hear a really good call, you're going to really appreciate it. So let's listen to this one.
Hello? Yeah.
Hi, this is with Robin's office. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Good. Hey, just wanted to touch base with you real fast. We see that you had opted into our 6 Ways book. Just trying to see if we can get you scheduled for that free one-on-one consultation so we could get that.
Right now,
marketing-
actually, I'm not going through this. I'm doing something.
Gotcha. Okay,
Okay?
perfect.
Maybe
No problem.
next.
Thank
All right. You're welcome. Bye.
So the one thing I do have to say here is the tone improved from last call to this call. She sounded, a little happier and a little more like somebody would want to listen to her. But she had, and this part got edited out, she had said, hey, I hear you opted in. Well, does everyone know what opted in means? Because I know that me and Rich know what it is because we deal with it on a daily basis. But your typical client or your typical prospect, they don't know what an opt-in is, so you should never say that. And then he says, we do something. Oh, fantastic. What is it that you do right now? What's working for you guys? And again, is that working for you if, you were to lose a client? Would you be able to replace that? So something you guys should hear a pattern with is probing questions. Just because they say no doesn't mean anything. We need to get them to think and actually think about what our marketing could do for them.
All right, let's go to the first of the good calls. Anything you want to say about this before I play it?
So this is Eric. He's very loud, but he has a very unique style. So listen to it, and then we'll talk about it after.
Hello. Hey, Eric Medved, Robin Robbins' office. I haven't caught you at a bad time, have I?
You have not.
Well, good. Listen, I was just following up with you because it looks like we had a consultation scheduled, a 30-minute consultation that you had to cancel or reschedule, and I just wanted to see if I could possibly get you to revisit that, and let's get you set up.
Well, I don't know if you and I had talked. I don't know if it was you that I had the consultation with. I did speak to someone. We had it set up. We initiated the call, but unfortunately, I'm not the decision maker.
Uh-huh.
And so we've kind of run into a brick wall here, and I think we determined, and I apologize there if it wasn't you, that really maybe it just wasn't a good use of y'all's time at this particular juncture.
It looks like you may have talked to, and
somebody called, and then the next day I had it set up. They called, and I explained this kind of where we were, and they just said, okay, well, it's involved, and I just don't want to waste y'all's time. So
no, and that's not what, really that's what the 30-minute call versus the hours for. It basically gives you an overview of our company, goes over pricing, things like that, and then that allows you to take it to, the decision maker. So it's not a waste of time.
Okay. Well, if you want to put something on the calendar,
yeah,
maybe for later this week, I'm okay with that. Just know that, unfortunately the expectations are pretty low, but I would love to have the information because
absolutely,
I think, in my opinion, hodgepodging several of the solutions that are all rolled up into one with your organization.
Mm-hmm.
And
yep.
So at some point, it's worth looking at. That's my opinion. I'm just an account executive, so.
No, that's fine. And you're in Central Time. I don't know how you look. Yeah, I don't know how you look today.
No, today is out for me. I'm pretty booked all day long.
Okay, that's fine. Tomorrow.
I'm available tomorrow morning. What was that?
I'm
available tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow I've got a 10 to 11. It's actually 10. It'll be 10 to 10:30.
Okay. You want to?
Would that work?
Put that in?
Okay.
You want to send me an invite? That'd be great.
And I'll send it all again. Is the 3681 the best number to get you on? Okay, my man, I'm going to send all this over to you. And again, you're going to get the big packet with all the information, the videos and everything. And just take a look at that. And you're all set up for 10 o'clock tomorrow. If something comes up, give me a call. Otherwise, we're good to go.
All right. Well, we look forward to speaking with you tomorrow.
Okay, thanks. Take care, sir.
All right. Thanks, Eric. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So the one thing that's not gonna make sense here, guys, somehow Eric's needing a cough drop got edited out. So something that he really likes to do is be able to get personal with people. And I used to do it too. So if you are having a chaotic moment, own it. He was coughing on, I don't know what he was doing. He was choking on air or something. And he was like, oh, I need a cough drop. It gets people, it kind of lets their guard down, lets you know that you're personable, you can have a quick laugh, things like that. Something that Eric's really great at. Now, he also made this non-decision maker feel important. Guys, that's extremely important because, not all decision makers you can get on the call at all times. There's going to be...
Hey, Eric Medved at Robin.
There's going to be times where, your marketing manager needs to collect the information and bring that back to your decision maker. And Eric also explained what this call can do for him. It makes it so that he knows the pricing, he knows all of that information in advance so he can take it to the decision maker.
All right, let's go on to call 2. It was trying to get its way in there early. I call this the super empathetic call.
Hello.
Hey, it's Eric Medved at Robin Robbins. How are you?
I am great. How?
Oh, Rich muted.
Rich, the audio went.
Oops. Well, let's get it back.
How are you?
I am doing absolutely wonderful. Did I catch you at a bad time?
uh, it's okay.
Oh, okay, good. I just heard some little ones in the background, and I know you're pretty busy.
Always. I just hopped off the call with a client, and I'm trying to come up for air.
Well, I'll be as brief as I possibly can. The reason for my call is I wanted to offer you a free one-on-one marketing consultation that will introduce our services to you. And during that consultation, we're going to give you our IT services, sales, and marketing roadmap. That is the exact marketing plan that we give our clients. But we're also going to give you what we call a mini marketing toolkit. It's got reports, videos, and audio lessons for marketing. I'm sorry? Oh, no. I thought you were talking to me.
No, close the patio door. Sorry.
You're good.
No, the one in my room. Sorry.
That's okay. But it's got lots of information. It's got like audio lessons that help you market your IT services and it's, and how to generate more leads. And Amina, one thing happens during this, three things actually are going to happen after this 50-minute to an hour consultation. Number one, you're going to take all the information and the tools that we give you for free and you're going to implement them yourself, part or all of it. Two, you're going to ask us to help you with it, which I promise you will knock it out of the park if you do ask us to help you. Or three, if you find at the end of that 50 minutes to an hour consultation that it was a complete waste of your time, Robin will send you a check for $100, no questions asked.
Can you send me the money? I'm kidding. No.
Honestly, I'm telling you, that's the first time somebody's ever said that. That's pretty good.
I think that all sounds great. My only issue here is my schedule right now.
Mm-hmm.
I just changed some things around with my company to add software development in addition to all our other services. And I just took on a full-time job at the CDC, so I'm kind of drowning. Can you give me a call back so we can actually schedule it? Can you give me 2 weeks?
Yeah, you tell me when and I'll call you back. And actually, you know what I can do? I mean, I can send you. I'll call you back in a couple of weeks. You tell me when, but I'm going to send you a link that you can actually go on and click on it, and you can book your own appointment when it's convenient for you.
Okay.
And then I'll follow up with you.
You'll get commission if I look at it, or?
What do you mean? No, I don't get commission.
Sure.
Yeah, I've got a salary, but I'll get credit for it because it's the number 104 says that I talked to you, so I actually get credit for it.
Okay, I definitely want to make sure you're getting credit, and yeah. So if you could send that to me and give me a call in a couple of weeks, that sounds great.
I sure will, dear. Take care of yourself, and please stay safe and be well.
Hey, I appreciate that so much. I hope you have a great day.
Sorry, I muted myself there. So the one thing I want you to take away from this is how quickly Eric was able to establish a rapport with someone within a 3-minute phone call. Now, this was a cold call. This was the first time he had ever called her. But what he did is he listened to what the prospect was not saying. So she was like, yep, this isn't a bad time, but you hear the kids in the background. Now, many of you know, working from home right now got its own challenges. If you could have heard me this morning telling my child to make sure that there was not a peep, spoken during this webinar, I probably sounded like she did, go close the door. So he really listened to what she wasn't saying. And then he told her, yes, I will absolutely give you a call back in a couple weeks, but I'm also going to send you that link so that if you do happen to get time, you can go on there and you can go ahead and schedule it. And then either way, I'm going to give you a call back. Now, I did happen to look this one up, and she actually did go online later that evening. I'm sure probably when the kids were in bed and things were calmed down and she had a chance to breathe. And she set herself an appointment that did end up sitting. So, you know, this was a fantastic cold call. He did go over the script, but he did add his own personality into it.
Yeah, I was so impressed with his ability in 2 minutes. She was concerned if he's going to get credit for this call. I think that's just fabulous. So well, let's move on here.
Hello.
Hey, Derek, Matt.
Whoops. Sorry.
All right,
All
guys.
right.
So we decided to put be prepared for yes, nay, because we know that a yes does not necessarily happen every day. While we absolutely hope it happens every day, we know that it's not gonna. So the one thing I want to make sure that my team doesn't fumble once they actually get that yes. So I don't want to hear, you know, here in the background, you hear the clicks, you hear the mouse. Let me get ready to ask you some questions. So this goes back to the very first 2 seconds before the call. Are all your websites up that you need? So when they want to book a call, yeah, sure. Let me go ahead and ask you some quick questions. Makes it a nice, smooth transition. You also need to set the expectation of what's going to happen. So as anyone knows, if you book a call with Robin, you are going to get a couple phone calls. And we like to make sure that my team says this in advance. Hey, thank you for booking, but just so you're aware, I am going to give you a call 48 hours in advance before your appointment, just to make sure that nothing's changed and that you have everything taken care of. If I don't reach you within those 48 hours, I'm going to try again 24 hours before, just to confirm. And again, if I don't reach you then, I'm also going to send you an email, and I'm going to send you or give you another call the morning of. So you can either respond via email that everything's good to go, or you can give me a call back. Now, I also like to tell them, hey, you're going to get an email invite. If you don't get that, check your spam. We all know sometimes that happens. You will be getting sent an email invite the day before as well. And then, do they need to prep for the call? So for us, we send you some pre-meeting material. I want every single person that has an appointment to review that email. I want you to look at the information. So tell them, why is it important? And then lastly, thank them for their business, guys. You just spent, you know, a good chunk of time with them. So thank them for that.
All right. Well, let's move on to more familiar territory, and that would be the world of no.
And boy, do we know that one. So the no is going to happen every day. It's going to happen most of your day. So, you know, be ready for it. Don't get discouraged just because you got a no. There is some things that you can help. So making sure that you have a rebuttal that makes sense for what the client just said to you or the prospect just said. You know, having those rebuttal scripts out and ready. And again, guys, we're going to go a little more in depth. Exploring the no. So, you know, the common thing that you should have taken away from all of those bad calls is there was no probing question. So when they said no, okay, bye. Now, there is going to be times where they're going to say no, bye. And they're going to hang up on you, or you know for sure that that's a definite, you're not getting. But if they just say, you know, no thanks, we're doing something right now, just talk about it. The more they talk about it, the more you're going to have opportunity. And then this is also a great place to be able to put in your unique selling proposition. We'll talk about it.
Okay.
All right.
Missy, let's talk a little bit about rebuttal scripts.
Absolutely. Guys, so making sure that you have a rebuttal script that makes sense to what the prospect is telling you is going to be. So these are a couple of the rebuttals that we have. So, you know, for gatekeepers, sometimes you really got to sit and think about well, hey, I had just sent you information, and we actually just wanted to follow up on that. It's a really good way to get around a gatekeeper. For no money, it can be a little tough, but you really have to sit down and think about it. Are you able to talk to people about plans, about different ways of doing things? We're able to do some different pickup. We have some different options to be able to offer someone. So that might be something you guys want to take a look at. I already have this. Now, from the sell the appointment, we actually have a couple people who use a really great rebuttal for this. So what they will say is, hey, that's fantastic. I understand that you already have this. Have you ever tested it? Do you know that what you're paying for is exactly what you're getting? Or are there things that you're paying for that you really don't need? So if we come in and assist you, what we're going to do is we're going to try all of those, and then we'll give you that free report. So you guys are creating a trust with them and creating a rapport that hopefully, even if it doesn't lead you something at that very moment, they're definitely going to think about you in the future. Sometimes it's all about planting the seed. So not right now. Guys, don't just leave this as not right now. Okay, I understand that you don't need this now, but when would be a good time frame to give you a call back? Are you, planning to go through different information in Q4 or Q1? Have a conversation with them. Can I call you back in 3 months? Or can you call back in 3 months? So if this happens, guys, you need to make sure that you're really following up on it. Because if they ask you to call in 3 months and you don't, well, what does that say for your company? That you don't follow through. So no one's going to listen. And then can I ask my wife, my husband, my partner, my brother, whoever that is, definitely make a script for something that comes with this. Sure, you can ask them, do you want us to give you a call back tomorrow when, after you've talked to them, or, we can see if you have any more questions, if they have any more questions. All of those are really great rebuttals.
All right, so let's move on to some Q&A. Debbie, do you have some questions lined up for us that maybe don't deal with scripts right away? We'll handle scripts, but anything else that comes to the top?
Oh, that don't hand. Okay. We have more and more questions coming in, so I'm looking to see. Douglas is asking, he gets a lot of voicemails when making the follow-up calls. Any suggestions?
Keep at it. Don't just give one follow-up call. Continue to call. Obviously not, every 15 minutes. But if they set a call up with you, I would call them at the scheduled time. And then if it's in the morning, I would try again in the afternoon. Just say, hey, we had a scheduled call back, especially if you're trying to reach the gatekeeper. And for voicemail, I would say, hey, it's Misty with Robin Robbins. I was giving you a call back. You had asked me to call you today, so I really wanted to touch base. Go ahead and give me a call back and leave your number.
Okay, we have a question from Carly. It says, besides your CRM and script, what are the websites to have up?
So we use Appointment Core. So I like to make sure that we have Appointment Core open so that they will be able to tell what types of appointments or what time frames we have for appointments. And then we also do a survey, an external survey. So there could be a multiple of different surveys that they need to have filled out. Those are the two main important ones.
Okay, I'm just scrolling up and down things to make sure. Okay, Don said, yeah, one of those answers he gets is that we're happy with who we're using.
Yeah, I would really use that rebuttal of, and that's fantastic. I'm really really glad you're happy with that, but have you ever had it tested?
Okay. Brent is asking, how often should you call back when they do not answer?
So I generally have a call cadence of 4 when we're mailing. So if you reach them on call 2, you know, and they call back, which would then be your call 3, I would finish your calling cadence, but I would try to call back maybe 2 or 3 additional times, just because they did talk to you, they did ask you to call back.
Okay, Rich, I have a question for you. John is asking, how is the best way to sell the appointment if you are a 1 or 2 man shop?
Well, it really doesn't. I guess the question is he the one who's making the calls? Maybe, I'm not quite sure. But you know, it just applies. You know, if you mail out your 25 letters, or maybe if you're one man shop, you mail out your 10 letters, then you just sit down and you work through the sequence that we talked about in the script. You know, hi, this is Fred. I'm calling about the letter I sent last week with the aspirin in it. And you know, you just roll into it in sort of a natural way. I don't know that anything special as a 1 or 2 man shop you need to do differently. It's just a matter of executing, maybe not in the volume initially that you would otherwise.
Okay, great. I just thought that'd be a good one for you. A question from Kellen, and you guys can decide who should answer. These rebuttals are only for the decision maker? That's a question. Or can we apply these to the gatekeeper?
So we have, you know, a select set of gatekeeper questions or gatekeeper rebuttals. While, as long as the rebuttal makes sense for what the gatekeeper is saying, you know, you can use it on them. But just beware that they're not the decision maker. So you're not going to answer them the same way that you would answer a question for a decision. Rich, does that make sense? Anything
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. No, I think the gatekeepers are all different. You know, and you know, if you're campaigning to the same company on your prospect list, you know, quarter after quarter or 6 months after 6 months, pretty soon you're going to develop a rapport with some of these gatekeepers, and that helps. You know, so just keep at the gatekeepers.
Okay, here's a question from Jason. What do you suggest is the best time of day to call the prospects? And I guess you could also say not just time of day, and I'm adding this, but sometimes people want to know not just time of day, but day of the week or days of the week.
So this is really gonna be important to what your vertical is. You know, every vertical is different. So I'm not going to be able to reach a doctor the same time I'm going to be able to reach a construction worker, you know, or vice versa. It all depends on your verticals. You have to figure out what time are your people going to be in the office or in front of a phone. You know, if you're a restaurant owner, if you call during lunch or dinner, they're going to tell you where to go because they're too busy serving other people. But if you know, call at, 10 o'clock in the morning, because now they're in their office, they're doing paperwork, things like that, then you'll be able to reach them. So it really needs to be tailored to what you're calling.
Debbie,
yes.
We only have 4 or 5 more slides. I think we're going to just move on to the
Sounds
slides,
good.
and then we'll get off the slide deck and get Missy and I on the screen, and we'll deal with all the rest of the questions.
Okay. And Missy, if you can make sure, please, to put yourself there. There you go. Thank you.
Back away from the camera. No.
All right. One of the important things Missy mentioned is having the USP in front of you, because the USP, really unique selling proposition, you as telemarketer and you as business owner really need to understand what makes you unique. And it's not a list of a lot of things generally. It could be 3 or 4 things that make you really unique. And you need to understand that so you can sort of own that. I say own it in your bones when you're on the call. You know, for the business owner, it's important that when the person who is making the calls is on the phone, they have to represent, you know, heart and soul the company and understand the culture. And the best way to do that is really understand the USP. That said, the USP is really only as effective as your understanding of the target market. So if you're having questions about target market and USP and need help, well then get help. And so there are lots of options for you, Technology Marketing Toolkit, in different membership levels to get help with the target and USP. So please take time to do that because the USP is very important. And as Missy said, she keeps it up all the time. And there are in fact, she said she has it memorized. I didn't test that, but she knows it so well that she can pull bits and pieces out of it, you know, during her conversation with a prospect. So let's move on here. Missy has some good metrics she wants to share with you.
All right, guys. So I'm going to go over this. You know, just be patient with me. It's going to take a few minutes, and I am about to send a lot of numbers your way. So the first thing that I do for every single one of my telemarketers is give them a spreadsheet so that I can track everything. So first I want to know whose is it? I'm picking on Eric today because I like to pick on him. So Annie can take it. So then the next one I'm going to do is their actual date of calling. As you see here, we have, you know, the 26th and 27th off. That's holiday. So there's no information there. The next one is going to be a first time call. So this is what we call a unique prospect. So the reason why they're a unique prospect is this is the first time we're calling them in this campaign. Now you could have called them 18 different times for another campaign. This is solely for the new campaign. The next one is going to be total number of dials. So this is the total number of dials you have dialed for the day. It could be calls 1, it could be calls 3, it could be call 4. Everything's included in this one. For the prospects pick first time. I don't care if you are on call 1 or call 4. If this is the first time you are talking to your prospect, then you're going to mark it here as the first time.
Missy, I just want to be clear that on the first three columns of numbers there, so the first time you call, that is on a particularly new campaign, or it could be on a form fill on a website. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and then the total number of dials is the number of dials that you made that day, regardless of result. And then when you get to the prospect pitched, that would be the first time that you've actually talked to a decision maker, because you really don't count voicemails and gatekeepers in this column. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, good. So I want to make sure I understood that.
Yes. So when it comes to follow-up conversation, I mark this a couple different ways. So if I have set callback and I now am reaching this prospect and have a conversation with them, it'll go here. If I have sent the prospect an email and they email me back, I'm going to count that as a follow-up conversation. I'm also going to do that if the prospect calls me and leaves me a voicemail, or gives me a call back when I'm actually able to answer. This isn't any voicemails that you leave, so just to be clear on that one. So the next is going to be consults booked. So this is just strictly what you have booked for the day. And then consult sat. What did you sit for the day? So the next ones are some percentages. Now our pitch to dials. So guys, this is how many people you pitch versus how many you called. So 4%, it's low, but it's not, not terrible. Pitch to unique. So these are pitch the very first dial, the very first 19%. That's good. I'm more than happy. Booked to pitch. So this is the total number that they have talked to that they actually booked. And that is at 57%. So 57% of the people that he actually talked to, he booked. And these are, these are outbound leads. So they have, they have had some interest in us before, but they're not inbound hot leads. Now, this is the part that, makes me extremely happy, his at rate. So these are the consults that actually show up and sit. He's at 84%. That is fantastic. So he has to book less appointments to make his goal because 84% of them sit.
All right, you ready for the next one?
I am. So I take all of these numbers, guys, and I turn them into metrics. Do some backwards planning. Now, this takes a little bit to get used to. It's a lot of numbers. I try to break it down as easily as I can. So what I do is I take the goal that he needs to make. So for the month of December, I need 35 appointments that sit. Now, I just made it 80%, so it's a little more of a even percentage here. So the average show rate on his appointments is 80% with a goal of 35. So how do I find out how many appointments he actually needs to book to make the goal? So I take the amount of appointments, which is 35, and I divide that by his show rate, so 0.80. That means he needs to book 44 appointments to be able to hit that goal of 35. Now, why is this so important and how did I figure it out? So I take last month's number. Now, if you're someone who is new and you don't have last month's numbers, I go with the fact that you need to dial 150 unique prospects for the month. And then this way you can kind of take an average from there. So for November, he dialed 290 unique prospects. So that's first time calls. And he dialed a total of 1,201 calls. He had booked 36 appointments and he sat 26. So I'm going to take those 36 appointments that he did schedule and I'm going to divide it by the amount of unique dials that he made. So he has a 12% booking. Okay. I am then to find out how many unique prospects he has to dial every single day. I take the amount of appointments that he needs to schedule to make goal, which would be 44. I'm going to then divide it by that booking rate, so 0.12. And that equals 367 unique calls per month. Now, if I take that and make it into something simple, I figure out how many business days do we have in the month so that he knows how many he has to call. That comes down to 19 calls a day. So he has to dial 19 call ones every single day to be able to make his goal of booking 44 appointments for this month.
All right. So that's the end of where we're going right now. And in just a minute, we'll get to questions and stay here as long as we need to answer the questions. But just remember, it's all about selling the appointment. It's not about selling, a product. So if you have questions, email ask@technologymarketingtoolkit.com. And you can get your mug here at toolkit.com/mug. And this will be up through Friday. So, get at it today and get that mug, and it will be mailed to you, directly. So we're going to go on and do some Q&A, and I'm going to stop the screen share And so, Debbie, if you want to start the Q&A, go right ahead.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
excellent.
we can.
I'm just going to start at the top and go down, okay? Kylie asked, during this time with folks working from home, how do you advise handling the objection and blunt refusal, I guess not just a refusal, but a blunt one, to meet even virtually for a free consultation?
So, you know, it depends on why they're asking. So my advice would be, even if they're blunt, I mean, unless they're blatantly like, no, bye, and, you know, hang up on you, which again, we know is going to happen. You know, I would take the time. I would ask them, ask them those probing questions and just see, well, if you don't want to sit down for a Zoom call, understandable, we don't want people in our houses. We don't want people seeing us right now. Not a problem. How about just a phone call? Try to make it accommodating for them.
Okay, next up is Danny. He said, back to the, we don't have anyone that works here with that name part that was in the recording. He says, I often transition into, could I speak with whomever is in charge of your IT services? Most cases I get pushed to a voicemail. Other times I just get a stern, no, we're not interested, and a hang up. Should I be taking this route differently?
So if they're sending you to a voicemail, hopefully that voicemail has a name on it. Write the name down. Try to look them up on the company. If you are getting, a stonewalling gatekeeper, I would try to take the tactic, hey, I'm really sorry. It looks like my information must be incorrect. Who is it that I would need to talk to? Try that and see if that one works.
You got me on that one. That sounds good. Okay. Michaela, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Michaela asked, will you be able to share some possible probing questions to use when they say they are quite happy with their current outsourced IT support and they have been with them for more than 10 years?
So I would go back to that, rebuttal that I had in there for, I already have this. Hey, that's great. Have you ever tested the information and that you're getting from them? Have you ever had just a second glance? This might not necessarily be to change your mind. And, we're not trying to say that they're, not giving you every need that's possible, but it would be really great to be able to double check that.
Carly's asking, what questions should you ask once you set the meeting?
Well, that depends. Do you have any information that they need to look at afterwards? Do you have a task that you want them to do? Because it all is dependent on what you guys are offering, what vertical you're talking to. So we're talking in generalities, but you're going to have to really drill down and investigate your specific company and what you can do for everyone.
Okay, we'll continue the rapid fire. I hope that's okay with both of you.
Nice.
Okay. Let's see. Nisa, here. This is a good one. I've had people ask me this before. What are your suggestions for gatekeepers that ask if the person is expecting your call?
Absolutely. So we get that one all the time. So he may not be expecting my call, but we did send him some information and we really just want to follow up and make sure that he received that. Or if it's an inbound and they're, requesting information, I would say, well, he's not expecting my call. He did ask for some information from our company. So we really need to touch base with him and make sure that he doesn't have any questions.
Okay. Brent is asking, this was a follow-up with him. I think it has to do with the calls, the cadence, 2 days, 1 day, 3. I think that's what he's asking. Brent, if I'm incorrect, post a new question.
So calling cadence. This is really important because you obviously don't want to bombard them, but you want to make sure that you're trying. So we have day 1, call 1, day 2, call 2, and then we skip a day and then call 3, and then skip a day and call 4. So you've got a little bit of time in there so that you have a little bit of a break so that you're not calling and the gatekeeper goes, look, Missy, I talked to you yesterday. I told you they were busy, you know, so at least it gives it a little break.
So a follow-up to that from Lily, she said, so you were talking about 3 calls, 4 calls, and spacing them out, right, Missy?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
She's asking, how many voicemails should you leave if you continuously get sent to their voicemail? Do you just go through whatever if you're making the 3 calls?
Every chance I can. If you're making a call, leave a voicemail.
Okay, cool.
You know, let me add something to that. I recall one time I was calling to try to get some information from someone, and I think on the 3rd or 4th call, I said something like, hey, Bob, I'm really concerned. Have you gone on a witness protection program? I've called you 3 or 4 times. Can you give me a call and help me out here? And I left the number, and lo and behold, I got the call. The other thing is there's a study that I read some years ago that said, well, number one, I think the study at that time said you had to make 3.6 calls just to get to a decision maker. I have no idea if that's still accurate. But it also talked about the fact that after you do the 3rd call and the 4th call and the 5th call, the percentage of your chances of getting a hold of someone increase. Because, at some point they're either going to admire persistence and pick up the phone and call you back, or not at all. But there was a study that said the more often you call, the higher your percent of getting an answer is. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And varying those voicemails is something that we do as well. For roadshow or boot camp, we've definitely, because we're calling clients, we're calling already known clients. So, hey, you okay? You alive over there? Just give me a call back. It's Missy, from Robin Robbins' office. So changing it up does help.
Also, probably when you make those calls, Missy, especially to the clients and you're talking to someone who's not the person you want to talk to, it's like, oh, how you doing? I recognize you,
Yeah.
So.
Hey, you're the one that's always calling me. What's going on?
Rich, you were.
Yeah, it is possible over a period of time when you're making these calls. I mean, and don't think of them as an anonymous person. Think of them as an avatar. Who are they? How old are they? What do they look like in your mind? And then start building that relationship on your voicemails. It does help.
Absolutely.
Okay, we have a lot more questions want to get through, so let's continue. Danny gave us another question. He said, when I get we've currently got a contract with someone response or some other objections, and I attempt to ask for further information, it feels rather intrusive. How would you recommend asking for more information without it seeming like I need to know everything about their company?
So, that's something about building rapport right at the beginning. So that's why we played that call from Eric. He's able to build that rapport, and it's just your tone of voice, your openness, asking questions that are open-ended. So you're not, well, is this a good service? Or, hey, so is your service, or do they respond to you, or how do they respond to you? How long do they take to respond to a ticket? So it's not about probing to get like, I have to have these answers. It's gently probing so that you start a conversation.
And I'd also think that it's partly a mindset of the caller, of the telemarketer. If you think you're making an intrusive call, that's your mindset. Yeah, that's what's going to come across. So, sort of clear that out of your mind.
Okay, Kevin is asking, what type of software do you use to manage the scheduling for callbacks, like voicemails when you want to try again in a half hour or so?
TurboDial.
That was quick. Yep.
Yeah, we do everything through TurboDial that integrates to Keep. So we have it all integrated, and it really does work fantastically. We have it so that they can put a date and a time in, and then it automatically pops up as a yellow alert that says, hey, call me. Make it nice and simple.
Okay, Matthew's asking, how would you tailor this to manage services? I get your marketing angle, but I'm looking for something more finely tuned for the calls we are making.
So again, that, it all goes with your vertical. I'm giving generalities. Yes, we are speaking marketing because this is what we happen to be calling for, but it's all inserting that USP. So that USP is what's going to help you pivot all of that. Correct, Rich?
Yeah, it all hinges on the USP and what service, what value do you bring to the client that is unique to you that's going to make them want to do business with you. And I always say that a good USP doesn't need to be very long. It can be or X reasons. It can be 6 or 7 things, but by the time you get to the 3rd or 4th thing, the prospect, in their mind should be reaching for the phone because they say, yeah, I want to do business with these people.
Okay, we have a question from Adam, our friend Adam over in the UK. What do you do if you never get a hold of the decision maker? So I'm thinking this is actually more of a marketing question.
So it is, but at the same time, you're putting those people into your process. Sometimes there is people that we've marketed to or we've sent 4 or 5 letters to, and maybe on the 5th time that we're calling, they're finally like, all right, look, I've gotten all this information. They keep calling me. Let me just answer and figure out what it is that they want.
Yeah, I think it's a process question. Just keep applying the process to them. Just, if they don't stick their head above water in this campaign, maybe they will next time.
Okay. Tristan's asking, do you have a single script or a few small ones based on the response?
So are we talking rebuttals or are we talking actual scripts? Because I have different rebuttals for, whatever we generally come across. And guys, I actually sit with my team and say, hey, are you hearing anything new? Is there something that you're hearing that I didn't give you a rebuttal script for? Because if that's the case, let's sit down and think of a way to do this. Now, it's not just me when I make a script. I take everyone's information into account. I ask Robin, I ask Mike, I ask the team, because the team are the ones that are actually hearing this information. And then when it comes to scripts, we have a script for everything that they're calling. Now, it wouldn't make sense for me to say, hey, Rich, thanks for attending this webinar if you were really asking for, a download of our 6 ways. So we have a script that's, fits each reason why we're calling.
Okay. The questions just keep coming in, so I'm working on managing them and making sure. Okay. Aliska, she says, this was a great presentation. When will it be available on the dashboard? So I'll answer that part. She then has another question. The thing is, we will most likely get all of this posted by tonight because we know it's going to be in high demand for those of you who have been on the webinar live and those who weren't able to join us. So she had said, how many times should you call back someone who canceled an appointment?
This is a good one because There's a couple different things to this. So, you know, we make sure that we call before the appointment. And then if they miss the appointment, we'll call them right away, you know, 5-10 minutes afterwards to see if we can get them on. Maybe they just missed the call. And then I generally tell my people to follow up a minimum. This is a minimum, guys, of 5 times. It could be, you know, morning, afternoon, next day, give it a couple days and then try calling back. And before they've reached that 30-day mark, I ask them to give them a call again. And then we keep track of everyone who canceled their appointment, everyone who no-showed, and about every 6 months, we'll go back and take a look and try to give those people a whole nother round of calls. So we'll do a calling cadence of 4 calls to say, hey, you know, I know we had you on the schedule and something happened, you weren't able to make it. Let's go ahead and get you on those books, because you already had the hard part. You already got them to say yes. So make sure you don't just leave them by the wayside.
Okay, here's a good question from Tristan. How do you train for these calls? Do you call other people on your team or learn with live calls?
A little bit of A, a little bit of B. So, you know, sometimes you're not going to be able to solve for every single thing in training. While I do have them call each other, I have them call our front desk, Sandra, because Sandra's probably going to be nicer than I am. I'm going to try to throw you a curveball. I have them call the sales team because they know exactly, you know, what information they have about the company. They can throw them curveballs. And it's not about just making them trip up, but I want them to get those jitters out beforehand. So when they do get a question that they're just like, I don't know what to say, you know, they've probably experienced something along the lines with all the different types of calls. I also have them listen to other calls. So, you know, they shadow a senior member. Then they have the ability to go back because all of our calls are recorded. So they can go back in there, they can kind of listen in and see if there's something, you know, that maybe they've never thought of to do differently.
Okay, Dominique is asking, what's the best way to get the appointment call if I'm the owner, right? So if she's the owner making the call and making the calls. How do you keep from getting into the weeds if they know you are the owner calling, but are just trying to book the call? Should you go into the discovery call portion and try to book the audit?
You're on mute, Rich.
I was going to say, let me take a shot at that one. You know, if you're the owner and you're calling, I would still try to book the appointment. If they push back a little bit, you know, you can say, well, listen, there's some things that we just really need to talk about face to face that I would rather explain to you in person rather than over the phone. It will take more time than you and I probably have right now to spend on the phone. If they push back hard, sure, you know, do what you can. You know, to push the process forward, but I would always work for the in-person appointment as much as possible.
Okay, we have Roy asking, or first he says, a couple of your bad calls, quote unquote bad calls, were very stonewalling type answers and refusal to talk at all. What techniques are you using to engage someone who is just being oppositional?
So this is where the tone comes in. So the first call, you heard the tone just talked like this. That's not going to get any, I mean, I don't want to be engaged with someone like that because they sound like a dead toad, and I don't want to talk to a dead toad. Like, I want to talk to somebody who has some upbeat attitude, who has some personality. That is super important on the phone because that's all you have. You know, you don't have your facial expressions. And, you know, of course, I wear mine, you know, even more on my face than a lot of people. I can't hide any of my emotions. But, for that, like they don't see that, they don't know it. So, being more personable, being able to just get in there and ask those probing questions will get people talking. If you just say, okay, yep, great, I'll leave it be, it's not going to get.
Okay, Sunil is saying the aspirin campaign stops after 3 emails and 3 calls. Is that by design? Majority of calls go into voicemail. How do we make sure that we generate those 15 to 18 touch points, as Robin says?
Let me work on that one a little bit. The 15 to 18 touch points don't have to be after you have mailed the letter. The 15 to 18 touch points would need to be sort of your consistent marketing, your drip marketing, and then the three and the 3. Everything that Robin puts together is really soup starter. You heard Misty say, well, you may have to call 5 times. Well, you may have to call 5 times. So the 3 and 3 is not really the law of the Medes and the Persians. So, you do what you have to do to get a hold of that person.
Okay. What if Trish is asking, what if the gatekeeper is annoyed with me for calling so many times, and that gatekeeper lets me know how many times I've called?
Hey, it happens all the time. Again, I used to get those ones that would be like, really? I just talked to you yesterday. They said that, I'm busy and the gate, they can't come. Hey, I'm really sorry. I know that I can be annoying. I'm really just trying to get through. When is the best time that I could actually reach him so that I don't bug you again?
Okay.
Turn it back to them. And the more, or the friendlier you are with the gatekeepers, sometimes it helps, guys.
We have someone asking, they're anonymous, so I don't know their name. What would be the response for catching a gatekeeper or CEO in a lie? For example, the gatekeeper or CEO will mention they already have someone who handles their IT, but after a few probing questions, they admit to not having someone handling it. I would say that's an exception that happens.
Yeah, that's definitely exception.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I would just move on if they acknowledge not having someone. Eventually in the call, you didn't hear the first part and schedule the appointment.
Okay. We have Brian. Brian's one of our newest members that we have. If someone sees your website or starts a live chat, would you use the same process to respond to them, or a different process, like just going into USB? By the way, my texts handle the live chats, not me.
So, in inbound, so them asking you for information, we definitely handle differently than someone we're just cold calling. If you are, and I'm, if you're requesting information from us, that's technically a opt-in. You of course treat them differently. Hey, Rich, I see you were trying to get our 6 ways information. Were you actually able to get that? Did you see that information? Do you still need me to send you a copy of it? So guys, you want to treat them as a warm lead because they're asking information from you.
Okay. Question, where are these call lists developed from? Brad was asking.
So these are all lists that we have in our database, in our CRM system. And, they've been in drip marketing. They've requested information from us through the years. We keep all of that. And so that's how we start to build it.
Okay, Mark is asking, on your aspirin campaign, wouldn't it help to put in a pre-call, he put that in quotes, to the decision maker prior to the mailing? Example, hi, John, I'm sending you a letter with an aspirin attached, and will you give a call next Tuesday?
It's So we like to let the marketing do its job. Rich, if you want to add to this.
Yeah, I've never heard that question before. I guess, I guess one thing Robin would say, you can always test it. If you're sending out 10 letters, pre-call 5 and don't pre-call 5 and see what happens. Certainly can't hurt anything. I want to go back to one of the questions previously, Debbie, where the person said their live chat was run by their technicians. I think that's really all the more important that you make sure that these technicians really understand the heart of your target market and your unique selling proposition. In other words, who are these people that they're supporting technically, and then who are these people that are going to be on the live chat? The live chat, they may get prospects as opposed to as current clients. So they really need to understand your unique selling proposition and target market to have them on the live chat.
That is good. Michelle's asking, what do you say when they claim to not have any money and can't afford anything right now? How do I book this appointment? What do I say?
That goes back to, do you guys offer different kind of products? Is there something you could do for them as an introductory? Robin speaks to this kind of stuff really well about pricing and things of that nature. But, that's something that you would really want to leave to your sales. Be like, hey, I understand that there's definitely some price issues, but what we should really do is have you talk to a consultant, because, we don't know what it is that you actually need until you actually start talking to the consultant and figuring out and going through all the information. And then we can put together something for your specific company.
Okay, we got a comment from Michael, and this is true. It's not a question. He just said, toughest one I got was that person died X months or years ago.
Hey, I am so sorry. Let me update our records and make sure that that's all correct. If you don't mind me asking, who's actually taking care of all that information now so that we don't have this happen again?
Good. David's asking so go ahead, Rich.
I was going to say it does happen, and it's just a sort of a red flag to you that you need to make sure you scrub your list fairly often.
Oh, that's funny. So Mike, our chief marketing officer, just put in the chat, dang, Missy, that's a good answer.
I've had it happen a couple times. Can you tell?
I had it happen once early on in my business. We weren't an MSP yet because that wasn't a term, but it's like, it's a little embarrassing, but like you said, you just correct it and move on.
And it's important, guys, that you don't let anything make you stumble. Be prepared for the unexpected, because, if you have something like that you can flawlessly, hey, I am so sorry. It's going to make you and your company look better because you're prepared for everything.
And it might be good for you to have a little script ready somewhere. When someone asks me a difficult question, I will often say, well, that's an interesting question because it gives you time to think. And so maybe your response to something off the wall like that is, wow, I've never gotten that question before. So just gives you a chance to think, and it helps with rapport building.
Okay, here's a question for Missy. I guess Rich could answer too, but David's asking, if you get to pitch the executive assistant to a decision maker, would you count that as a prospect pitched?
So is that the person you were trying to reach? Because that makes a difference. So if you are calling to talk to the executive assistant, then you've reached your decision maker that you were trying to reach. You might need to add them into your CRM system if you don't have them added already, and put them in as, the executive assistant. But if you are able to get them to agree to a call, then, you're going to mark that because you've booked a consult. It might be, you know, a smaller 30-minute version of the consult like we do, where we're just, you know, gathering information and things of that nature.
Okay, actually, the same person, David, I saw he had a question later on, so we'll just follow up. He said, also, if the gatekeeper says the best way to get the decision makers by email, what is your opinion on sending them a personal email above and beyond the marketing emails built into the campaign?
Always.
Always. 100%.
Okay. Quick question, any special time that's good for when you're calling law firms for callbacks to reach the decision maker?
I would say on court holidays, that would be a good one. When court's not in session. Otherwise, you know, if you know your law, if you know your, it goes back to knowing your target market avatar. If you really know your target market avatar, and the decision maker is the law practice manager, or the heavy influencer like they are at doctor's offices, you know, they're there pretty much all the time. If it's a partner, you have some idea, if you know the avatar really well, of what kind of a schedule they keep during the day.
Okay. Paula is asking, which we've discussed, how many calls per mailing should you actually be making, 3, 4, or 5? And then a follow-up, because I know different campaigns have said different things, right? At least of our campaigns, right, that our members use. And then she said, should you go back to the previous week's mailings and to continue to call on them? So how many calls, 3, 4, 5? And then should you go back to previous mailings and continue to call on them?
So, I guess I don't quite understand the last part of the question, but every campaign has a different amount. So if someone's asking us for information, we do a 5-call cadence. If we're calling to get someone to just sit for a consult, then we do a 4-call cadence. So it really depends on, you know, what you're doing. And you can always change that. You know, you can do, if 3 calls aren't enough for you, add a 4th if you're, you know, able to get a hold of them. So some of it's going to be trial and error, but don't be afraid to add an additional call.
Okay. Justin's saying, say you call someone and they are good to go, not interested. I'm not quite sure, that doesn't seem clear. How long do you wait to call back, and when do you do that? Do you say anything different the second time, or you just start back with the kind of call one script?
So guys, if we're saying that they're just not interested, right?
I think so. It was a little jumbled.
So if they're not interested, then, you know, mark them as not interested and keep going. It should take them out of your calling cadence, you know, and then I think is it every 6 months they can go back into the drip marketing?
So the drip marketing would be monthly, and we do have a marketing deep dive, shameless plug, on productive drip marketing. But a lot of times I hear Robin say for the campaign, like if you're doing the aspirin or the closer look, you're doing it in December, do it again to the same list or whatever campaign it may be, like 6 months or so from now. That's what she's been saying. So, okay, I know we're gonna need to watch the time because questions keep coming. So remember, everyone, if we don't get to your questions, because there've been so many, we had over 300 people attending at the height of this. You can always send your questions to ask@Technology Marketing Toolkit, and either myself, Rich, or Missy will respond. So just putting that out there, because we need to respect Missy and Rich's time too. Let's see. Marjorie asked, if you express that you are following up on information you sent and the gatekeeper doesn't let you through, are there any other ideas for getting through?
Email. Hey,
Okay. What if
I-
you don't
know,
have permission to email?
So non-marketable email is different than, you know, just regular email. If it's non-marketable, you can't send them a mass email. But if it's non-marketable, you can send them a personal email. Hey, I was just trying to get, you know, give you some information. I had followed up on the information I had sent. Keep it simple.
Okay. Raul's asking, can you send one-to-one emails on day one if you have their email info as well?
Yeah.
I'd say follow the process. Whatever the process is in the campaign, follow that, right?
But, you know, I mean, yes to that, but, you know, if you want to send an email because you are, you know, trying to get that, then if it's working for you, have that be part of your campaign. You know, I know that we send emails on call 1 if we didn't reach someone, you know, or call 3 if we haven't reached someone. Hey, we've been trying to reach you. You know, if you could just respond to us, even if it's just tell me to go kick rocks, greatly appreciated.
You all in the South always have these phrases, kick rocks, this, Robin always has stuff. That's good. Okay, so Neil has a follow-up question. What do you do with people who go dark, i.e. they stop responding to emails and phone calls? I think that's something beyond the initial campaign, but if you have anything to say to that.
Just let the process work. Keep them in, you know, keep them in your drip marketing and continue the process.
Okay.
I've heard more than one story about people, prospects who responded to the bad date letter 8, 9, 10 months later after you have moved on to something else. So it happens frequently.
Okay. Rich, Laura, one of our accelerators members, I believe, she said, speaking about USPs and varying the voicemails, it makes me wonder if I could plant a seed by leaving a bit of information about our USP on the voicemail to get their interest. Thoughts on that?
Well, yes, I think you could. It would have to be like a 30-second elevator speech. Hey, you know, Bob, I'm sorry I couldn't reach you. I think you really want to do business with us because we do, you know, and just rattle off one or two that are really important and unique to that market. So yeah, you could do that. It goes back to the fact that your USP really has to permeate everything you do. And I'm sure that if Missy is on the phone and leaving a voicemail, which she doesn't like to do, I know that, but she will certainly pick a piece of the USP as part of her message. And she's nodding her head, so yes.
Okay, how many more questions should we take, and then we can close it down, and you all let me know, because it's after the 90-minute mark. Rich, you're muted.
Yeah, I'm good for another 10 minutes or so. How about you, Missy?
Yep, I can do another 10 minutes, sure.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Paula asked, should you follow up a campaign mailing with a letter or postcard about the campaign? I sent out a complimentary newsletter the week following the campaign mailing and add them to our tech tip postcard list. It's just a drip marketing. I guess how quickly maybe after you've done the initial campaign?
Well, you should have a rhythm to your drip marketing. You know, week 1, you should be doing the printed newsletter. Week 2, you should be doing the e-newsletter blog. Week 3, a tech tip postcard. Week 4, you know, the cybersecurity tips. And then once every 6 months, a campaign. So you should be constantly dripping on those people month after month after month. I don't know if you need to do anything special unless you're not doing the rhythm.
Here is a question for Missy from Dan. I'm trying to see if we have different ones that really haven't been addressed yet. What is the typical hour commitment per week you've observed for a lead gen person doing these calls before they're delivering 3 or more first-time appointments per week?
So I'm sorry, they're asking.
I think it's the training time, and once they start getting results, I believe that's what he's asking.
So we have a training schedule. I'm obviously not going to bring somebody on board and say, good luck. You know, so we ramp them up. We start them with a very small goal and then really work up to, over the course of, you know, 4 months to come to your regular goal. So, you know, you'll kind of have to tailor fit that for every individual. Now, I do like to start the first full 30 days of calling starts their first goal. And then I'm helping them along the way, trying to make sure that they can make that, ramping up their calls, because I don't want to, you know, give them 200 calls on, you know, their first day calling and they're like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? And, you know, it just overwhelms them. So just step into it slowly and work up to your goals.
Okay. Caitlin's asking, what about emailing video voicemails, or sometimes called one-to-one video emails? Have you tried anything like this and seen good results?
So personally, my team has not tried anything like this. Rich, do you know of any?
Actually, I don't. But again, I would say go back and test it. It certainly couldn't hurt, and if it's really a success, we'll get you on here and do a deep dive.
Yeah, and maybe you can teach us a little bit. So we're always looking for new innovative things.
Right.
Ian is asking, could you address the value of using open-ended versus closed-ended questions during the calling sequences?
Well, guys, if you're asking a closed-ended conversation, how are you going to get that person to open up and talk to you? You're not. They're just going to say yes, they're going to say no, and that's going to be the end of it. You need to get them to talk. So always ask open-ended questions.
Okay, question from Anonymous. How do you respond to prospects that are angry that you're sending mail in the middle of a pandemic?
That's touchy. Hey, you know, I'm really sorry. You know, if this has offended you, I can definitely halt any mailings for you while we're going through this, you know, this difficult time. Guys, just be compassionate. You know, if they're mad, address it. Hey, I am really sorry. That's all you can do, and move on.
Yeah, it's an empathetic response that's it's most important, and I think, you know, everybody is well, I shouldn't say everybody. Some people are on a shorter fuse right now. It's just because you know, life is sort of turned upside down. You know, for all of us on the call and all of us on the screen here. So that empathetic response is what you need.
Beth is asking, I like this, where do you keep your scripts? I have mine taped all over my desk.
So I had mine all over my cubicle. It looked like a paper nightmare, and I'm really glad Robin never really paid attention to that. But as of now, because I don't call as often as I once did, I have it in like a clear file folder that I keep on my desk. I know that a few of my reps just keep it on their desk right in front of them so that they can randomly flip through. I know that a couple of them also have it on their computer. So we have multiple monitors, and they'll put the sticky note of the script on the monitor so that when they're looking up, all they have to do is look at the screen and continue to talk. So it's really what best works for you, but I'm a visual person. I like to see it all over the place.
Okay, we'll do one more question, okay, because I know it could keep going, but I'm just trying, oh, here's a good one. Justine is asking, for contacts that have multiple decision makers, like combined practices or companies, is it reasonable to send marketing material to each individual and call for both contacts at different times, or should we be organizing our list to have one contact per business?
So we try to organize our list so that it's one contact per business, because when you're getting multiples, then the gatekeeper can sometimes be like, well, you just called for Joe. Why are you now calling for Sam? You know, so it can get a little confusing. Now, if you reach that decision maker and they say, you know, this is really more of Sam's wheelhouse, then go ahead and make Sam the active person. You can have them in your CRM and make, if you have Keep or, you know, Infusionsoft, you can make that be, you know, I have one active person, even though I have 3 decision makers, because this is the person that would deal with it.
And it's true, especially in medical practices and law practices, that you will run into this. And generally there is one person who is the lead lawyer, the lead doctor, who sort of keeps the group together, the lead practice manager, the lead attorney.
Kind of the managing partner or something. Okay, I said it was the last question, but here's one final one. And for those of you whose we don't get to, please send the email to ask@technologymarketingtoolkit.com. Mary Beth's asked, saying, the call scripts I use from Robin Robbins from the toolkit search are very different than the type of calls that Eric was using on his calls. Do you have a script that is more like Eric's calls, more personal and friendly?
So guys, he has the same script as everyone else. As you heard, those meat and potatoes are still in there. He was talking about, you know, listen, this is what happens on our consultation. This is what you'll get out of it. It's actually Eric himself that makes it personable. You know, what I tell my team is that I want everyone to give me all the meat and potatoes, but the little nuances is up to you. It's what makes you a good salesperson and what makes you a good appointment setter. When I was doing the calls, you know, I 100% had that script in front of me and followed all the important tips, but there was some things that I would just change a little bit to make it sound more like me, because if it doesn't sound like me, then I'm going to be, no, I want to make it smooth. So you're going to get my take on it, which might not be for everybody, you know, but what I do is I listen to each of my team members' calls. And if there's something that doesn't sound like what I need it to sound like, then I'll sit down and talk to them. But when Eric is doing his, you know, fun, friendly, hey, I just wanted to get you back on the calendar, then that's just who he is.
I think the thing to remember too, Missy, and the question, whoever asked the question, is that the call scripts need to be as individual as the caller. We're not asking you to fit into a size 6 shoe or size 7 shoe if that's not your size. So just remember, your prospects are all unique, and the people you call are all unique. They're all different, and so your script will, you know, end up reflecting you, and you will still get, as Missy said, the 80% of the stuff that needs to be in the script. But, you know, it has to be dressed up to go to show, step out from behind the curtain, and reflect who you are as a caller.
Okay, Rich, do you want to wrap this up, close it out? I know you had me post something in the chat to remind everyone of a certain website address.
Sure. Debbie, ask Debbie to post the link for the mug in there. And 2 things. Missy, just summarizing, I try to make a list here, but when people get ready to make a call, they need to have several things, you know, ready for themselves. One is the USP, the rebuttal scripts, their scripts, their websites, and as Felicia said, their mug. So, you know, we can pretty well take care of that. Did I forget anything in that list?
You know, guys, breathe, smile, relax, and it's just a damn call.
That's right. So thank you for joining us. Stay tuned. Sometime next year, I think Missy and I are going to get together again and actually talk about the hiring and training of inside salespeople, or at least inside telemarketers. So thanks for being on the call. And as Debbie said, get your questions in to ask, and we will try to help you out. So goodbye, all. I hope you had a great call. We enjoyed being on here.
Bye, guys. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to me.